Finally. Wowzers. Right, we're live. See the chat on my phone. Nope. Anybody here? Or am I'm the only one watching myself. Here we go. Switch account. All right, made it. What the heck? There, this guy. So where is it? Oh, see somebody else found me. Sorry for the delay, folks. Folk, come on in. As usual, live stream starting up at technical difficulties. Yeah. Iron out the kinks in my setup here. Glad to have you. I got too many devices that I don't know how to use properly. So. In any case, this is a Friday Night Live. Wait as people trickle in. Among the people I've been watching and the channels I follow, it seems that Lane Myers is all the rage this week. There's lots going on, and it's been too fast for me to follow. I've been extremely busy with other stuff, and so I'm kind of lost. I don't know if I have much to say. Hey, welcome in, Mike. Good to see you. Happy Friday. And yeah, so we can talk about Lane Myers. We can talk about whatever's on your mind. I find it interesting, the hearings and the charges are coming so fast in the Lane Myers situation that I'm having a hard time commenting. I actually got set up with this app on my phone so that you can text Lane in the jail in Pima County, but it's like my credentials need to be reviewed by the Pima County institution there. So I saw he sent me a message, but I'm unable to send him messages back. So I don't know if it's just a matter of waiting or time, but it'd be cool just to say hi to him. Sucks to be sitting in jail for what he's sitting in jail for, whether you like him or hate him. I think James Freeman is kind of ranting on his channel right now live. I get where he's coming from. I personally, I like Lane. I can relate to him. I think we were talking about this on a live or one of my videos. And let's see. Boy, it's so confusing. Like I was saying a minute ago, I've been busy. Like last weekend, I had my well pump go out, so I had no water. So I was scrambling around, going to my neighbor's house, filling up barrels of water so I could water my animals and have some washing water in the house and whatnot. And then it was my mom's birthday on the weekend, and then on the way home I had a blowout on the truck. So that was a thing I had to deal with yesterday, getting new tires for the truck. So I was away from home most of the day. There was 2 hearings, Wednesday and Thursday, but they're on separate charges from the hearing that was today with Lane. And then I had a visitor come over today. I had a friend staying with me last weekend. So whatever's happened with Lane in the last weeks, I'm kind of out of the loop, and I can't even follow what's going on. So Lane had a hearing today where he got $500 bond, but it's kind of a moot point since he's being held on no bond on a separate set of charges with a different judge, and it gets all very confusing because it's all Pima County Superior Court in Tucson, Arizona. And if people file in here and can kind of fill me in, that'd be great. I've been watching. This is a public service, and I'm hearing Lane on the phone from jail, but I've got no context, so I really don't know what's going on. And so that's kind of beside the point. Nobody wants to see him in jail. Well, no, there are people that want to see him in jail. But it's sort of, if there's an expectation that he's going to get out, I think that's unrealistic at this point. He's kind of sucked into the machine, and they're going to chew him up as best they can. He's kind of acknowledged they're pressing him for a plea deal. So if he pleads guilty, then that kind of opens up a door to go after anyone and everyone for what we had the impression was protect speech. So it's a real wild situation. I've commented before, I'm following the case because I'm familiar with Lane's story, and I've seen what he's gone through and his technique for handling it. And this was my last grasp at considering that the system is fair and that justice is accessible through that system. But it's not that I haven't been a statist, if you want to use that term, in quite some time. I do lean towards the anarchist, voluntarist, agorist approach. And to see Lane the way he's handled himself with all his legal endeavors, it was intriguing. So I was rooting for the system to show that it has integrity and that justice is accessible. But I was just on Bao's live stream, Clash with Bao, or it was on Smurf Watch Transparency channel, and so we were going through that, and it's kind of hard not to be black-pilled about this. Like, the judge is literally laughing at Lane in the hearing from earlier today because the judge knows he's got this guy where he wants him. So that's not encouraging if you get caught up in the system. So Lane has a court-appointed lawyer currently who seems to be doing a rather rotten job. He's, I guess, a criminal defense lawyer, but he's his name is Parvin, Parven. I forget the first name, whether it's Walter or something like that. But it seems like he's kind of in close with all the judges and the prosecutor's office, and he wants to be a judge in his own right. So he's not going to make waves. And Lane's area of comfort is representing himself as a pro se litigant, but in jail he has no access to the tools that he normally uses. Yeah, if there was a civil rights lawyer that would pick this up, whether Institute for Justice or somebody, he did have a couple of lawyers representing him in the New Mexico charges, which he has, but he fired them because he didn't like how the strategy they were presenting. And there's an argument for or against. I mean, Lane's track record defending himself is what it is. Like he's got victories under his belt, and so the New Mexican lawyers, I think they're also able to represent him in Arizona, but he's kind of burned that bridge with them. But when he's at home in front of his computer using Westlaw, which again, that's an $800 plus software package for the basic, where you do have links to all the case law. It's all at your fingertips. You can draft the motions. You can file directly from your laptop to the court. Essentially, he doesn't have access to all these tools in Pima County. So in the adult correctional facility or whatever it's called there, they won't even let him have access to the law library because he did have this, or did and does have this public defender representing him. But there's one set of charges that are these grand jury charges. I think that was what they were hearing today. But then there was another set of charges. Like, it's so convoluted, and that's usually the way Lane does it. He's fighting the battle on 17 different fronts, but he's always been able to walk away and have charges dismissed. But he's essentially powerless at this point. Like, he can't file motions. They won't even give him a pen and piece of paper if he wanted to write a motion, handwritten. So they're gonna have fun with him. I'd like to be able to message him just to say, hey, it's not that it's gonna be okay, but like I don't know what we could do for you at this point. Like, if anybody out there has ideas, it's a matter of alerting the media. That's a possibility. That seems to be the latest strategy that I've seen on this is a public service Foshan's page, is get a hold of Biskupeng in Arizona and the big media outlets, whether it's Fox, ABC, whoever, get a hold of state representatives, let them know, let the governor know. I'm here in Canada. Like, there's a limit to how I feel about meddling in American jurisprudence and your legal system. Like, I think I asked the other day, like, you tell me if it's appropriate for me to start emailing judges and weighing in on that. I think that's kind of, is it my not responsibility? Am I obliged to chime in just to stand up for what's right? Or, like, I'm not worried about getting in trouble. But it's sort of like, I wouldn't want the Chinese interfering in our Canadian legal system, even though they already do. Well, that might get me canceled. If we get cut off, it's because the red Chinese are watching. So yeah, I'm not a lawyer. I don't even play one on television. It's just an intriguing situation because, yeah, why should a guy go to jail, be locked up in a cage for YouTubing, which is essentially what he's doing? Like, if it could happen to him, it could happen to all of us. So I'm open to discussing that. Like I say, I don't have a lot of opinions other than I'd like to be an encouragement. And I guess the other strategy is, if you have a YouTube channel or a platform, I've been reposting a bunch of stuff on Twitter. Even though I don't have much of a following there, I've just started using Twitter in the last month or two. So I just post stuff there that's kind of interesting to me. So I'm getting some views, but like the story needs to get some traction uh, if people know about it, and that's always been his strategy is to weaponize his ability to troll these government officials uh, and use these platforms as a weapon against them. I think we were talking about this last week. I don't know if you were around for that, Mike. And so yeah, we've been given these personal tracking devices for our convenience, and they're really kind of helping to enslave us in this digital prison that they're constructing for us, but we're cooperating. So uh, I've said in the past, as Gen X, I think people of our age group are kind of built to stand up to this. And I don't remember seeing you here last weekend. I did a stream or two on Sunday. Tell me about Lane. I don't know a story. Okay, if you go back to Sunday mornings, I gave like a start to finish as I know his story. I've been watching Lane for about a year. It was right around this time last year. I guess there's nobody else, so we got time. I can go over this again. It's not a problem. As people might trickle in, they can correct where I'm misunderstanding. But Lane's legal problems started in 2022 during the July long weekend, 4th of July long weekend. He and his wife were honeymooning in New Mexico, and so they had found a site that's that's managed by the U.S. Forest Service, and the U.S. Forest Service contracts with a contractor company to maintain the facilities. And so there's a camp host that is on site, I guess during the camping season. I don't know if that's year round or what their contract is. Was there, and so Lane and his wife plunked themselves down in a campsite, and this host came and was trying to chase them off because that site was reserved. Well, Lane was arguing that you can't reserve sites at this particular campground because it's basically first come, first serve. But the camp host was insisting, no, this guy has reserved it. It's paid for already. You need to leave. So, long story short, it escalated and got a little argumentative, and Lane, being who he is, somewhat abrasive, somewhat in your face, standing up for his rights, basically told the camp host to kick rocks and go clean a toilet. And so as they were in the process of moving from one campsite to another, they were complying. They never refused to leave. They wanted to pay. The camp host, in fact, refused their payment. And they ended up getting trespassed from U.S. forest land by a person who's not a representative of the U.S. Forest Service. So the camp host really didn't have the authority to do what he did, which was make a complaint against Lane and his wife. And no, it wasn't a ranger. It was just a camp host. He worked for a private contractor that basically is responsible for making sure the toilets are clean and collecting fees from campers. And that's about it. And Lane has gone over all these cases in huge detail on his channel. The problem is there's 1,000 hours to catch up, and he's he's a character, to say the least. But I can relate to him. I uh, I refer to him as the anti-hero. Like he's not a person you would naturally want to cheer for. But when you understand what he's getting at, it's about fundamental freedoms and defending the Constitution and all this. So anyways, Lane offended this camp host who ended up calling the New Mexico State Police, and the New Mexico State Police attempted to enforce the trespass. And Lane understands the law. He'll go right up to the line and not cross it. And so he racked up a number of charges: resisting arrest, failure to identify, disorderly conduct, and all of it was manufactured charges. So this is going back 2 years. And so from 2022 until about this time last year, Lane has been posting a few videos on his YouTube channel, kind of whether it was body cam footage or footage that they had taken themselves of the incident. And then he had done depositions of the arresting officer from the New Mexico State Police, Angel Moreno, who, well, I'll get from the New Mexico State Police, Angel Moreno, who, well, I'll get to him in a minute, and then Douglas Downey, who was the camp host. They were essentially the complainants. The officer, the state trooper, state policeman, was the one who was prosecuting, essentially, in this case. And again, I'm not a U.S. legal scholar. I'm learning from Lane a lot of the process. In Canada, it's slightly different here. We don't have state police. We have like a national police service, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. It's like our FBI. So they're federal police force, but unless you're in the major metropolitan centers, the smaller towns and municipalities will contract with the RCMP to provide police services, whereas the larger centers, where I'm from, Winnipeg, my hometown, they have their own police force with their own union and their own contract with the city and blah, 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 blah. But in any case, he was deposing these two witnesses, or the officer and the camp host, and he just tore them a new one. Like, if that's what they were going to have to testify at trial, he basically got them to the point where they were perjuring themselves in the deposition, and if it was on the record in courts, like he would have won hands down, especially in a jury trial. Again, his personality is very abrasive, very direct, very abrupt. At first, I thought like he might be on the spectrum as far as some kind of disorder, but I would say not. His brain is going 1,000 miles a minute, and I don't believe it's from meth. It's just he's a gifted individual. Like at age 6, he was in the gifted class where they were learning university level courses and then doing extracurricular stuff. Like he's one of those kind of savants there. That guy can't get tickets here. That guy can't give tickets here. Well, in any case, these two depositions, I saw them on YouTube, and my jaw open. So I don't know if you've seen some of my older videos where I was going through, one of them is titled, "I Fought the Law." But it's basically tracks my journey through YouTube and internet legal studies. Whether it was the free man on the land or the sovereign citizen stuff. In the back of my head, I kind of realized the way to attack the system is to get to know the system as good as they do. And Lane is the only example of someone I've seen that has done that comprehensively. He knows the procedure, the civil procedure, criminal procedure. He knows the court rules. He knows this stuff, but he has the tools, and he's spent the time studying thousands and thousands of hours, and Westlaw. And his wife was a federal law clerk. But in any case, that New Mexico case has dragged on and on and on. And just before Christmas, they were starting to have evidentiary hearings and motion hearings. He's been filing motions to dismiss. And so they finally set a court date, which was for this past week, actually, March 25th and 27th. They were supposed to have a pretrial on Tuesday and begin the trial yesterday, like picking the jury and whatnot. So that was completely disrupted. So we'll press pause there. Going back to last spring, after these depositions, which were, I think, the previous fall, this is when I started watching Lane. He started posting more content, giving updates of what's happening in New Mexico. And then he was starting to get more active, being vocal in his community. So he's in Tucson. And so last May, I think it was. Okay, yeah, there was another incident where he was at O'Reilly's picking up a catalytic converter for one of his vehicles, and they didn't have the bolts, and so it turned into a big kerfuffle. That's a legal term, by the way. But it got a little tense between him and the clerk that was serving it at the cashier. There was an argument, we don't carry the bolts, and Lane's like, yes, you do, you just need to find them. And it got a little tense, and because of his demeanor and the way he comes across, there was a complaint that he was being disorderly, which he never, or uttering threats, which he never did. There's video saying he never did. So he was wrongfully arrested. He was released immediately. He was, but that was charges he had to fight as well. Oh, the camp host cannot. Yeah, they can't give tickets. No. Agreed. So there was some pending charges there, and some attempts at getting injunctions against him, against harassment, and it ended up getting dismissed in the end. But following that, he went to the Tucson City Hall council meeting, and during the public forum time, or he was there, I guess, to speak during public forum. But prior to that, during the preliminaries, they were having some kind of recognition ceremonies. I don't know if they were recognizing paramedics or nurses or transgender people or something. But there was some like presentation. And at the end of whatever the presentation was or the recognition, the people in the audience were clapping. And Lane in the back row was sitting there quietly, not disruptively, but booing, saying boo, like not even much louder than that, boo. And so the mayor, Regina Romero, warned whoever is booing, if you continue disrupting our meeting, you'll be dealt with, some kind of open-ended threat. And so Lane continued the booing at the appropriate time. Like, he wasn't talking over anybody that was talking. He wasn't preventing anyone from saying anything. It's just when the crowd was responding, he would respond in his own way, which is protected speech. And in the rules of decorum of that meeting, he wasn't being disorderly. He wasn't doing anything that is allowed. He was just pissing off the mayor. And so the mayor was shooting looks at the city attorney, and they gave a nod to the police who was providing security. I think it was City of Tucson police that were providing security during the meeting. They came to Mr. Myers, asked him to leave or threatened him with trespass if he didn't leave. And so he voluntarily left. He got up on his own. There was no scene, and ended up getting more charges for disorderly and possibly trespassing. So I was like, okay, this guy just finds trouble wherever he goes, it seems. And I'm watching this, and as I'm saying, like, there's nothing about this guy that is appealing that you want to take his side. He's doing all the wrong things. So you'd naturally be inclined. He's the anti-hero archetype. He's like the Joker. Like, even in the original Batman's, like, you had Jack Nicholson as the Joker. In a way, you're like, I know I'm supposed to be cheering for Michael Keaton, but I really like Jack Nicholson, and he's doing a good job. So I'm kind of low-key, connecting with this character. until later on in the series, in the franchise, they made the Joker anti-hero into the antagonist hero of the story. So it's kind of a unique device, literary device that they do for these movies and stories. But Lane is like that. Like you wouldn't normally be attracted to him because of his appealing personality. I can relate to him because he's got this trolling thing going on, and so in any case, more charges coming and more threats. So he went. He needed to uh, file appeals or file motions in the courthouse, and the courthouse is guarded by U.S. Marshals, and so he got into a deal with them and picked up more disorderly charges. Uh, and he's one of these people that likes to. He's always filmed his encounters with government employees with a cell phone. He's kind of joked like the most dangerous weapon that a civilian can have is not an AR-15; it's an iPhone 15 and a YouTube channel. And so he records everything, and then he uploads and discusses the things that are going on. And a lot of things he discusses, he's even made public records inquiries for body cam footage and police records. So it's public record. You can talk about that. It's nothing redacted, nothing that it's his own case. He can talk about it. So it's really, he's weaponized YouTube, and he's weaponized the ability to gather a community around him to support what's going on, but to get eyeballs on the situation. So in any case, there was as many as 16 charges, I believe, by the end of the last fall, and they were all dismissed. And just one by one, the prosecutors dropped the cases. And if you go back there on his YouTube channel, it's something I also posted to my Twitter. It's called Lane Myers Eats a Prosecutor, where he goes up against one of the complainants in this current thing that he's doing. But if you go to my YouTube channel or my Twitter channel, you'll see it there. It's from last fall, and he completely eviscerates and annihilates this prosecutor, such that the prosecutor got taken off the case, and his cases were bounced from judge to judge, prosecutor to prosecutor, and eventually all those charges, the booing charges, the O'Reilly's charges, the disorderlies, the harassing U.S. Marshals, all that was, everything that happened in the city of Tucson was dropped as of Christmas time. He had a run-in with Judge Alexander Francis Ball, who was seemingly targeting him in retaliation, and like there's all kind. This is where it gets so convoluted. There's subplots with people like Mark Kelly, the Reluctant Prophet. He's got a YouTube channel as well, and his own legal battle with having his media company being able to record in public buildings, especially courthouses. Hey, Sassy, welcome in. Come on in. We're just talking. Our good friend. Did you get my email address finally? I haven't seen an email from you. I've responded. If you don't have it, it's brentshimko@gmail.com. And we'll get this that package to you. Not the glass of water, but the thing behind it. Anyways, all those charges were dropped, and things were going well. Lane was preparing for his New Mexico case until just recently, where complainants, I'm hesitating to name them because he just seems to be getting, like, I don't know if we could possibly get him in any more trouble than he is. And we were trying to keep our positivity up here, Sassy, and so it's sort of a matter of finding out, like, what is there left to do. But in any case, I'm explaining kind of Lane's story to Mike here. And so there were, you know, this just happened in the last 2 weeks. It turns out a grand jury was convened, and they're bringing uh, felony indictments and misdemeanor indictments for a injunction against harassment against this complainant. Victim, I mean, if you go back and look at today's hearing, it kind of give you an idea of what a shit show it's been and it's turning into. But in any case, they're alleging that Lane has harassed this individual, and all he's ever done is post the interactions he's had in relation to his case with this person and this injunction whom he's never met on his YouTube. And the police report that kind of led to the grand jury indictment contained the fact that Lane and this person are allegedly former, had an intimate relationship. He's called her ex, and they've never even met in person other than, oh, good job, Arizona senators. Yeah, is talk to your officials, I guess, and yeah, get the media involved, or however, whether it's YouTube or social media or the mainstream media. Like, this is a story. This is something I'm interested in. I don't know what the outcome can possibly be that's going to make everybody feel good about this. Like, it's already kind of black-pilled me in that they've got him behind bars in a cage for harassing and alleged domestic violence against somebody he's never actually met in person. He's left an email, he's left a voicemail, and they've seen each other in court, and there's all these allegations and charges, but a grand jury found enough to indict him, and so a new prosecutor with new judges, and I guess the deadly pill here is that he's been held as of the hearings from earlier, well, from last week, but this week he had a bond hearing, and so they're holding him without bond. And he's not a threat to flee. He's not a threat to cause harm to anybody. He's not a threat to the public. And so it seems like a Eighth Amendment violation of excessive bail and unusual punishment for someone who still has yet to have his day in court. And so there was a bond hearing today, but as I said, there's two kind of sets of charges, and this is where I lose it, because I haven't really been able to stay on top of what's happening in the last 2 weeks, and the convolutions are getting stranger and stranger. So he was given $500 bond today, but I don't think it means anything because he still has no bond. He got a 500. Yeah. I'm just gonna check the chat to see what's happening. And Sassy, are you on that app that you can text Wayne or Lane? Wayne. There is a Give Send Go legal defense fund. If you, I suppose I can find the links here, but as soon as I start doing other stuff on this computer, it shits the bed and doesn't want to play anymore. So he did get a $500 bond for the previous charges. So is he able to get out? This is where, this is a public service coverage of this, which has been on YouTube. I'm not able to put all the pieces together, and there's gaps in my knowledge. So in the last 2 weeks, I'm completely confused. Other than I know he's in jail. I heard the hearing from earlier, Sassy. So Uh, there's a hearing on Tuesday to determine whether he actually did what the prosecutor is saying he did on YouTube, or he's making phone calls from jail and it's being broadcast as well to from Lane to a media personality who's broadcasting. It's just the same as any news coverage that you would see. Uh, but I've got that app to communicate with Lane. There's money on that account, and he actually sent me a message, but I can't send him a message back. It says the institution is conducting a review, and so pending the review, whether I get the credentials, I guess, to message Lane. I don't know. Like there were other means of connecting with him, but I guess because I'm out of outside the United States, I couldn't actually set up an account. But this was on my iPhone on the Apple Store, so I was able to set up an account, put some money on there just to talk to him and say hi. Don't get discouraged, but be a bit of an encouragement to him. And so he sent me a message, but I can't send anything back. So if you're able to communicate, just say pending review by the Pima County authorities. I'll try to text him back, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen. So whatever. And so, like I was saying to Mike, I'm just trying to bring Mike up to speed because he knows nothing about Lane Myers. But it's basically he's getting railroaded for what seems as plain as the gigantic schnoz on my face, that it's First Amendment protected activity that he's being prosecuted for. And he pissed off this prosecutor back in the fall time, and this is retaliation. That's the way it looks. And unfortunately for Lane, I don't know how you're going to get your way out of this because they've got you between a rock and a hard place now. So if it's a matter of just, you'll beat the rat, but you won't beat the ride, just get comfortable during the ride. I don't know. I don't have the answers. And like I say, my understanding of what's going on is fragmented in the last week or so. I don't know what the right strategy is. I want to do more, or I want to see true justice. And so we're talking a little bit about this during Clash with Bao live stream, or it was the Smurf Watch live stream. We were listening, or we listened to the hearing from 2:00 today, so I heard it twice, and it's kind of a nuanced conversation. Bao is really like, yeah, you don't want to mess with their system because you can't beat their system. You can't win. It's set up so you can't win. And I agree with that. But I want Lane to win. I want him to beat them at their own game, but I think that's just hopium on my part. Because we were told in civics classes that, the government is there to help you, and this, it's all just. I'm old and I'm cynical as hell, and it's just not true. I hate being lied to, but I like truth and I like justice, and I want to see justice done. And Bao's point was, they'll hurt you. It's just how much you allow them to hurt you. And if they hurt me, and this is Bao's approach. I don't want to speak for Bao. He's welcome to come on here and troll us some as well, but it's like you're going to do damage to me, but I'm going to get what's mine as well. So I don't know what he means by that, but it's a negotiation, right? You negotiate your justice, and Lane has been trying to negotiate justice. Yeah, transparency, accountability, and that's what the YouTubing is for. Like we're going to use this as a tool to shine light on the evil deeds. Bao would say you're wasting your time, and I half agree. But there's something in me that believes in fundamental justice, and by Bao saying, I'll get what I need out of the transaction too, he believes in some kind of fundamental justice too. It just may look a little different than what I believe. So it's not a matter of being right or wrong, or you need to believe this way or that. But it's like Lane had and has like the acumen and the stamina to go the distance, but he doesn't have the tools at his disposal now because they took all that ability away from him. So they basically hamstringed him or hog-tied him, both hands behind his back, and gagged him. And so it's not a fair fight, and it it never was. It never was. And so with all his successes, we were cheering him on. He's got a huge community behind him, rooting for him, and I want to see the best outcome. The best outcome might be winning on appeal. I don't know what his options are. Uh, you're not going to use brute force in this case, unfortunately. So, yeah, there's no way Lane's action. But look what happened to Craig Henry. He's in jail for the same thing. He was holding his local government accountable in Indiana, and they want to take away his phone privileges here. But Craig Henry, same thing. He was doing stuff with his local police department and town councils, and other people were on his behalf, either leaving messages which were construed as harassment. The First Amendment might call it petitioning your government for grievances. Like, it's just, it seems so cut and dry. And this is what I've been saying. These papers or parchments with ink on them, they mean nothing. They literally, and I hate to say that because it's like, what's the alternative? Are you booing me? Oh my. Boo. Yeah, take away his phone. So they want to take away his internet. So it's like, like it's the most ridiculous thing. Like where does it end? So like this is, and I said this last week. Like if Lane gets prison, like they're calling for 45 years in prison for these charges. For harassment of a woman he's never met in person outside of a courtroom. Like, it just boggles the mind. And so I had set up that troll channel, just to prove the point. Like, stop clicking on videos that are going to trigger you. So if you're watching this video right now, either live or after the fact, I consider that communication with me indirectly, and you're liable for prosecution for harassment. So stick that in your pipe and smoke it, walkers. Like, it's not ridiculous. These are the allegations. He made a video, and it caused people to do stuff, and so that's a violation. That's harmful to me. And I've been making the point, like, they've been trying to make words violent for the last 10 years, equating violence with saying things on the internet. And like, it's, and I made the comment last week, like, we got it pretty bad here in Canada. They're trying to bring in an internet harms bill to keep the children safe. It's all for the sake of the children. And then likewise in the UK, they've got, you can't say the name Tommy Robinson on the internet if you live in the UK. Otherwise, you'll get a knock on the door in the middle of the night, and they'll rack up charges and say you've got fines for $500,000 and facing life in prison just for saying the name Tommy Robinson. Now, I'm not advocating. I don't know much about Tommy Robinson. I'm somewhat familiar. I haven't been following what Tommy Robinson's about. I don't care about Tommy Robinson. It's a nothing to me. But they've got him locked away, and they're trying to intimidate people there for having opinions. And so the way it works there, from what I understand, is you just stand your ground. Eventually, the charges get dropped. They have no case against you for saying anything or broadcasting anything on the internet. They just want to make you think that that they're going to do great harm to you. And as long as you could put up with the stress of these looming charges and these big fines and prison sentences, you'll fare well. But most people, they're going to be intimidated by that. Like, it's very strong arm tactics, authoritarian, if you might say. But just as Craig Henry has been locked away, and just as Lane Myers could potentially be locked up, I've said, the United States, you're going to leapfrog over the UK, Canada, China, like, as far as a violation of basic human rights. Like, this is deplorable. Like, good. And so what do? The parallel societies, the parallel economies, people have been talking about this for quite some time. COVID was a big wake up for many. I don't know if it was enough of a wake up. So in any case, that's not even the end of Lane's legal experience, Mike. But that's kind of just what's been going on in the last 2 years, and it's been an ongoing thing. And so, remember I was talking about New Mexico? There were supposed to be hearings this week. Well, those ended up getting continued, delayed to a later date. I don't know what happened there. You weren't privy to the hearing. I think you did an appearance from jail via video conference to the judge in New Mexico, to the court there, and it's you've never seen Bao? Go check it out. He's got an internet beef with some of the same people that Lane does, whether it's Ruff or Mitch. Like, these internet beefs are getting pretty funny. And so Bao on his main channels clash with Bao. I think he got another copyright strike from Mars Life or Mitch Lovin the other day. And then DirectD was he issued that hokey looking lawsuit 3 weeks ago or a month ago from Christopher Ruff LLC. So there's this internet beef going on, or YouTube beef going on there. And so Bao has a backup channel called Smurf Watch Transparency, where he just live streams, and it's basically a hangout. I'm learning a lot about streaming and about how to use YouTube as a tool, if not a weapon, to do things like what I'm doing on the other channel. Having said that, I don't have the ability to live stream on that other channel because I have channels connected to this one phone number. And so at some point I might get a second phone for a business phone, and then I'll be able to live stream on other channels. But I can currently only live stream on this channel. So if I need to make more backup channels, I'll do that. But for now, live streams will be here, and I'll just post videos over there. But with the way things are going, I don't know if that's even a necessary strategy. We'll see. We'll see what I do with the other channels. And Bao's a good shit. Like, it's kind of it's a mentality that reminds me of junior high school. Like, it's a bunch of us just riffing on each other, it's a bunch of sick burns and jokes, and he'll stream other auditors or cop watchers or legal stuff. He's been following the Karen Reed stuff. I have no idea what's going on with that. But then we'll also tune in. There's I never knew this genre existed, but like these tweaker channels where these people do crack or do meth and then start live streaming. And so it's a matter of just tuning in, restreaming these tweaker channels and just trolling the hell out of them. And it's like junior high all over again. So maybe I peaked in junior high, but it's sort of like Gen X, I'm telling you, like we were the troll generation. I've said the millennials are like they were the meme generation. That's what they contribute. And then the Gen Zers, they weaponize the memes And now Gen Alpha, they're just a beast of their own. Like everybody's scared of them because they create their own language. They hate everybody other, that's over the age of 17. Like they are going to, they're going to run the world in a very short time. And where the millennials have kind of failed, and Gen X, like I wasn't an early adopter to all this technology. I'm kind of on a rapid growth curve of how to use social media. I didn't use Facebook. I didn't use Twitter. I've watched YouTube for years, but just in the last several months, it's like I need to start a channel and start polluting the ether with my opinions and whatnot. So uh, I think that's potentially a legit strategy. Even I've said as well, it's kind of therapeutic, a little cathartic for me. I get to vent, I get to release pressure. So there's a benefit in doing this, but we're going to change the topic right away. So Tommy Robinson jacked up like Wayne. The striker units they're placing it. I don't know. I don't really watch the news. Uh, Tweak or crack. It's kind of a little bit of both, but it's a rip roaring good time because the chat is just chaotic and it's you get these arguments going and the jokes flowing and Bao is he's like the puppet master over all of it and it's he's a good shit. He's good. Uh, if you're easily offended, stay away. But anyways, that's kind of the Lane Myers story. But his New Mexico thing is thrown into chaos. There's a tailspin there. He's got this this incarceration to deal with now, and so we'll figure it out. And that's what this stream is for. Is if somebody wants to chime in or what have you. I don't have much more to say. It's a long story. I apologize. I wish there was a shorter version. It's just so many twists and turns and convolutions. And I don't want to get too deep into it because the details are almost irrelevant at this point. Uh, so it's sort of without hearing from Lane what he'd like us to do, or sort of just continue doing stuff like this. And so, in any case, that's that. There's more inevitability that economically we can't do what we need to do to remain a country because we've policied ourselves into oblivion as far as what our economy is capable of, which is very little without the United States. And the reality is, Canada relies on the United States to provide about 25% of our GDP, where the United States relies on Canada for about 2%. So there's a huge power imbalance there, and our leaders, our people in charge, just they're tweaking out, thinking they're gonna get Donald Trump to submit to their will. It's insanity. So we're pretty much finished here. I'm completely black pilled on most of these matters that involve government. I'm in a rural area. I do what I need to do. Typically, nobody's bothering me. I enjoy plenty of freedom. I I have no interest in being an activist unless it's something like this that I could do uh, in front of a camera. But I'm not going to be doing cop watching. I'm not going to be doing much because I get the game that the authoritarians are in charge and they don't care what you think or say or do. They make the rules. I don't know how it got this way. That's 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 I guess I like figuring stuff out. Like how did this happen? The male getting along with everybody's a big happy family. His pigs are funny. It's gotten cold here again. We got this 4 inches of snow that fell in the last day or two. There was actually this gigantic blizzard when I was in the city yesterday. They got hit a lot harder. I don't know what their total was there, but it was virtual whiteout. But the pigs, they just pile on a big pile of piggies. And so you had these two older sows and then the male, and then a bunch of little piglets that were still with their mothers. And they get that body heat going, and it's just steaming in there. So everybody's having a grand old time. We'll see if we get some piglets. They'd be like around August or September. It's not an ideal time for piglets, but just things going forward through this fall. I think it'll be all right. I would have preferred to be having piglets right around this time, but I didn't have a chance to get my penning set up. In the wintertime, everything freezes to the ground here, so I had the boar separated from the females, so with everything stuck into the ground, I couldn't even get them together if I wanted to. So it is what it is. You figure it out as you go. What do we need? Oh, yeah, I got some presents too that were given to me. Just hold on, it's right here. So today I had a fair amount of trouble just starting the stream. I don't know what was going on. Whether it was my internet was slow, I had to restart my computer. There was a video I did the other day with this new software on that Windows computer I was able to utilize. So I did this presentation where I was able to share screen and stuff. So I have that capability, but then I went to do the live stream on that laptop and it didn't work. So I went to my old laptop and finally got it to work. But yeah, I think if I tried to open one more tab on my browser, the thing would just die on me. But anyways, I was in the city and my friend gave me a bunch of equipment to use for YouTubing. So got this tripod you can set up so you don't have to be balanced on cardboard box anymore. So that's super cool. Prod? Like livestock prod? I've got one, but I don't use it. I've never needed to. There's a couple extra power packs just for charging phones. They gave me. There's a phone holder, or I guess I think I could stick a phone in here and then screw it to the tripod. They gave me a couple of earbuds. So I guess I'm not huge on earbuds, but figure out what to do with those. Extra cord. This is a cool one. Actually, I'll do this one first. There's this little gimbly device. It's got its own little stand too. I think I have to download some software to make this thing work. So, and the phone clamp works on this, but it will be for doing walks and talks, stabilizer. So he's like professional. He's going to be professional stuff here now. So, this thing, I can set you up on the table now. without danger of you falling over, or at least not easily. And then I was going to go purchase these myself, but we've got microphones. So, so I can uh, go do videos outdoors. I did one the other day. I didn't know how the sound was. It was a little windy. I was worried might not be able to be heard, but these are supposed to be really good microphones. So then I'll be able to, you'll be able to hear me. Unless you're tired of hearing me, then it's a moot point. In any case, I got all these toys to figure out how to operate. So I think in the next week I'll have more time. Last week was hectic. So electric prod for keeping. Yeah, I use electric fencing just to keep the animals where I need them. But my animals are so well behaved; they do what I need them to do. There's never been a need for a prod. I mean, you train them with a pail. Like when they see the feed, they'll pretty much follow you wherever you need to go. Uh, they'll go. You just get behind them, and they'll run in the opposite direction. So it's kind of, I don't have any real cantankerous animals. They do what I need them to do without the need of a shock prod. So, uh, you know, it's a shock prod would be for the two-legged animals that show up here. But that's about it. So anybody got questions aside from electrical devices that can be used? Just checking the chat, see if anything's so we haven't looked at. I tell you though, that video I shot the other day, it was so fun seeing that Babylon Bee material about Generation Alpha, because the millennials and Gen Z was kind of revealing how irrelevant they become. Like they were completely freaked out by this ability for Gen Alpha to do their own thing, and to me, it lines up with what we're doing on this channel, which is the culture war and disrupting the status quo. And so Gen Alpha, it's like they're rejecting the current status quo, the current thing, and replacing it with their own thing. And people are freaking out. And I think that's great. I think, it's refreshing. So I don't know if that's going to convert into creativity or if they're calling it Generation Alpha brain rot because they're brought up on electronics and they live on social media, in general terms, more so than my generation or even the millennials and Gen Z. Like they have not known a world without social media their entire lives. And that's people that were born from 2010 and on right up to now. And so we're right on the cusp of a new generation beta. So it kind of remains to be seen what will be impacting them and the impact they'll have. But Generation Alpha is poised to be the next generation to have a major impact on how economies operate and how the marketplace operates. Like we've really let them down as far as the system we've created for them to inherit, and they've kind of weaponized social media, and they're going to use it to their advantage. They already are. Like look at the popularity of TikTok and all these platforms. Like they don't care what we think. They're going to do what they need to do, and I love that spirit. I love that approach. So we'll wait and see what happens. And I'm not trying to be an influencer towards Generation Alpha by any means, because they are not interested in what I have to say, other than, hey, have at it, folks. I'm with you. I'm behind you. I'm cheering for you. The, the world the world I inherited from the boomers was difficult, not impossible. Like I'm pleased with where I'm at, but we didn't have the same opportunities my parents had, and the millennials had even fewer opportunities than I had, and Gen Z kind of became this doomist, nihilist, postmodern group of people, and now Generation Alpha is just telling all of us to go suck a bag of dicks or eat a bag of dicks, and they're just gonna forge their own way, and I think that's amazing that they're gonna be pioneers. If I watch The Prisoner, if I get what specifically, I I have kind of forgotten about that, but I would get that. What is the what, or what is the that I would get? I'll go watch it sometime. Don't worry about that. Leave a comment for me or something afterwards. If you're gone, you're gone. But have a good weekend, Mike. Good seeing you. But yeah, this whole Gen Alpha thing is kind of still puts a smile on my face, because I can relate. That's how I felt, to be able to have the opportunity to be a world changer. And I guess I just didn't know how to go about it, and I didn't really see a lot of leadership amongst people of my age at the time when we came of age. So, not big excuses. It's just there were no people that kind of got promoted into places of leadership that were going to be good examples to follow. And so maybe I needed to be more proactive or whatever. But I'm doing what I'm doing now. I had other things to be doing. So you can't be sitting around waiting for other people to do stuff for you. But Gen Z or Gen Alpha, they're going to do their own thing, and there's nothing we could do about it. And I think that's awesome. In the meantime, there's stuff that do concern us all, and so we're going to go about doing what we need to do. And I don't know if this live stream or this channel is so much about answers, but at least it's okay to have discussions. I sometimes come across as I know it all, but I definitely don't. I'm learning. I want to learn more. I want to learn more about the technology, how to use this platform. I'm still really taking baby steps here as far as coordinating all this hardware and software, figuring out how this works, even just starting on time with the live stream. Definitely want to improve what I can do with this. And as I said before, there's a strategy as well, like Lane has done, which is to get people aware, get people supporting either what you're doing, or at least generating interest in your message, to the point where now he's got this emotional support group which is a resource, a community behind it. That there is protection in numbers. There is some degree of safety. To be just a lone wolf or a lone badger, that's a tough road. Sometimes you do have to go it alone, but in general, if there's people that got your back and you know that there's a community of people, watching you, bolster you, strengthen you, and so I think that's a strategy that's legit for all of us, especially if you've got the time and energy and resources to do something like this. Start broadcasting, start using media to your advantage, and rather than just be a consumer of whatever is being offered, start generating a message that is going to change your world and possibly change the lives of others around you. So, with that, I think we're kind of good to wind us down. I think I should have time to do something Sunday, so I'll post something on a community post as far as whether we could do something Sunday morning, like last week, or Sunday evening. I don't know exactly what's in store for Sunday, but I'll do my best to invite you in again. We could have another talk. There's nothing pressing, so we'll see what develops between now and then. I might come up with something different to talk about. I might start restreaming some of these tweaker streams. But with that, have a good weekend. Start to the weekend. Happy Friday, everybody, and see you on the next one. Is this for real? There's people starting to watch now? I mean, jump in the chat if you want to keep going. It's not my bedtime yet. See, the numbers are going up and down here. Okay, well, if nobody's talking, I mean, I've kind of run out of stuff to say, so we'll catch you on the next one. Take care, folks.